Up next on Walk the Plank, the pre-show for Dead and Buried Treasures, we will take a big look at the mythology story coming up in the next arc of our show. You've seen the last two episodes. You can see that there is definitely something going on the island. Also, we'll take questions tonight from Facebook. We normally take the questions from your phone calls, but because it takes up so much time, there's never a chance to get to questions from Facebook. Of course, we'll preview tonight's movie and take you behind the scenes like we promised to do a few episodes ago and never really got a chance to. So we're going to get on with the show tonight, spin the wheel, and see what happens.
Your luck will change for the better.
And who couldn't use some of that? Up next on Walk the Plank. Hello and welcome to another award-winning evening of Dead and Buried Treasures. This is the pre-show, Walk the Plank. I, of course, am Erik Sprowls, the series creator. Rich, my co-host, is on assignment tonight. I've always wanted to say that. Do you think he'd like that? Yeah, Rich. He's actually on vacation tonight, but he's on assignment tonight. This is Erik Sprowls. Rich, our main correspondent, is on assignment. I've always wanted to say that. Right. So tonight, we are hosting the movie Dementia 13, the Francis Ford Coppola classic, and we will be on location at the Nemacolin Castle, located in Brownsville, Pennsylvania, and there are rumors that it's really haunted. I've been there a couple times in my past when I was doing some other horror hosting shows, and also to work a little bit on tonight's show, and I can tell you, you're going to have to tune in and see, but let's just say that I think on tonight's show, we have captured something paranormal on our cameras. You'll have to tune in to find out. Is it a real ghost? I don't know. You think it was a real ghost? All right, so that's tonight. Also, we'll take you a little bit behind the scenes if there's time, answer some of your questions on Facebook. We've got a whole evening planned, so let's get right to it. First, last week's show. If you've been watching Dead and Buried Treasures over the last few weeks, you saw that there is a definite mythology to the show. We kind of, one of the Facebook comments tonight said we're a little bit like the X-Files, and I kind of agree with that because when the X-Files first came on television, it had some standalones of paranormal stuff, and then it kind of got into its mythology episodes where there was something behind, it turned out it was the government conspiracy, and are there aliens, are they behind it, whatever that mythology led to. We have something similar as in regards to how did our crew jump 400 years to the future? Is it a curse? What happened with the curse? Is it the island? And what we've discovered over the last few weeks, if you've been watching Dead and Buried Treasures, is that the island definitely has some kind of powers. Somebody wrote me and said, "Did you land on the island and Lost?" Yeah, Jack and Kate are all there, and Sawyer, we're on the same island. No, but there's definitely something going on with the island. And we learned last week that one of the presidents of the United States, FDR to be specific, has pirates in his bloodline. It was somehow tied to the island. That'll give you something to watch if you want to go back and watch some on YouTube. That there is a mythology connected to this show, and we're just kind of giving you tastes of it. But we do know that the island, somehow the siren is tied to it, which is a message in a bottle. She just knows all the information on the island. That it definitely has some powers. The president has had pirates in his bloodline for some time. And somehow it involves some sort of time traveling. We know that the pirates obviously time traveled 400 years into the future, and we're trying to figure out what all this is, how it affects Captain Drake and the cast and the crew, and what's happening. So, and if FDR had it in his grasp, what's going to happen to Calico and the gang? You know, they have to start thinking, hey, how are we here? How do we time travel 400 years in the future? What are our ties to the island? And now it seems like Captain Drake is the protector of the island. And what's its connection to movies and artwork? Things like that. Hosting these monster movies. It makes you wonder. When Captain Drake and the gang stumbled upon the curse, was it in fact a curse? Or was it a time-traveling accident gone wrong? We've given you a lot of tastes of that. And if you've been watching for the last few weeks, when you watched a month ago with the movie Chopping Mall, last week with I Bury the Living, you could also see that there's some kind of a tree on the island. I call it the Christmas tree. It's a white pine fir. And it has every ornament of every movie ever made on that tree that changes. So it'll change from this ornament to that ornament, and that ornament to that ornament, because you couldn't fit. How many movies are there in history? 1 million? Yeah, you can't fit 1 million ornaments on a tree. I mean, even the tree on the front lawn of the White House, you couldn't do that. So they're always constantly changing and evolving, and it has something to do with movies and art on this very powerful island. And it makes you wonder, is it a curse? Was it an accident? Was it a time-traveling anomaly? What was it exactly? So you've tuned in at the right time. The aftermath of the last 2 episodes, which were mythology-related. But you can see there's something going on the island. Tonight is kind of a standalone. We go on location to Nemacolin Castle and to see if it's haunted or not. And I have a lot of ties with the Nemacolin Castle. It's in Brownsville, Pennsylvania. It's in our Fayette County viewing area, which is our FC TV audience on Channel 77. But it's very close for everybody else that's in the Pittsburgh area to get out and visit as well. So it's really nice. It's kind of cool. At Halloween, they make it very haunted-like. At Christmas time, they make it warm and cozy. So it's kind of fun how they do that. And we're going to take you behind the scenes of that tonight. So I'll tell you what, before with any further ado, this is normally where we get into phone calls from fans and things like that. Let's get into some of your Facebook instant messages that you've dropped us on Facebook. We never get a chance to get to those. We're always so focused on phone calls, and then Rich and I will start talking, and we get off on different tangents, but we never get a chance to address our Facebook audience. So we're now on Facebook, obviously. Friday nights at 12 o'clock. Our pre-show's on at 11:30. And of course, our after show comes on when the show wraps up. So let's get into some of our Facebook messages. Here's one from Tanya Arrington in Texas. What is the Christmas tree all about? Well, as you saw last week in the show, there's something to that tree. Every ornament from every movie ever made is on that tree. That's the theory about it. But it evolves and moves in and out, and all of a sudden you're looking at the Star Wars ornament, and all of a sudden it materializes into the Jaws ornament, and that materializes into the Bridges of Madison County ornament, or an Abbott and Costello ornament. And it just kind of it's evolving and growing. The tree has a history as a protector of movies on the island, and we'll leave it at that. This one comes from Thomas Zeroni. Right, am I pronouncing that right? Thomas Zerone in Wheeling, West Virginia. Is anyone else looking for the island? Yes. I can say that. I created the show, right? Like any good show, we're going to reveal some bad guys. Some will be standalone bad guys, and some will be mythology-involved bad guys. But there will be one main bad guy that comes onto the show sooner or later that's in charge of being bad. And this person is definitely looking for the island. There, you can see that. And you'll see that the next few shows. Yeah, that's right. You gotta keep secrets like this. It's like interviewing, back in the 90s, interviewing David Duchovny about the X-Files. You know, I can't say anything. You know, it's just like Tom Holland always screws up with Spider-Man. Oh, what are you doing next on the Avengers, Tom? Oh, well, here's what we're doing and everything. Let me write it down for you. You know, I got to be careful what I say, because if I tell you too much, you won't be able to have fun with it. But the island is very powerful. The siren is a messenger of information, and there are people looking for the island. And this island has had quite a history. We can leave it at that. Why is Captain Drake chosen? This one comes from Duffy Goddess in Boston, Massachusetts. Like, why is he the chosen one? Again, I can't tell you, because you got to watch to find out. And if I told you, then there wouldn't be anything to watch. But he is the chosen one for a certain reason. Just when you think he's a dirty old pirate and he's not worth anything. You know, I like those kind of stories where heroes rise and they're nobodies, or at least they think that they're nobodies. And those are my favorite kind of stories. And Captain Drake is definitely a nobody that becomes a somebody because the island has chosen him. And you'll see why. Why has America not moved in on the island? This comes from Mike Costa in Cincinnati, Ohio. Why has America not moved in on the island? Well, you can't. The island can choose to be seen, or it can choose not to be seen. And it's that powerful. And obviously it sent a messenger to recover Captain Drake to bring him to the island. So now you're starting to learn why he's there 400 years in the future hosting these monster movies. But America hasn't moved in on the island because they can't see it. Will the siren be back? Oh, most definitely. This one comes from Bree Edelman in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, the siren will be back. Oh yeah. And she is integral to the connection between the story of Captain Drake and the island. So there we got some Facebook questions answered. When we come back, we're going to take you behind the scenes of the show, courtesy of moi. I'll give you some tour of the sets and why we do the things that we do. Stay with us.
Phoenix Comics and Toys has done it again.
My decoder's here!
Yar, me hearties! The Dead and Buried Treasure Fan Club is now accepting new crew.
Wow, Jonathan Benson at H7.
Each fan club kit contains one decoder statue with a secret compartment containing your doubloon, one autographed photo of the captain and Jack, and one welcoming letter. Yar!
My gold doubloon!
Decode each episode's code for a chance to win prizes. Yar! Set sails to Etsy and Facebook to order yours today. Yar!
Buster, your brother needs to use the bathroom.
I'll be right out, Dad!
Others can't help you now.
That's a shame. I can use all the help I get. Welcome back to Walk the Plank. We are the pre-show for Dead and Buried Treasures, which is due on in just a few minutes. So stay with us. There were a couple of Facebook questions we didn't get a chance to answer, and I missed them. I'm sorry, so I'm going to answer them right now. Somebody said to me, why, people are always asking me, Captain Drake, can I come to the set and see the pirate ship? And I wish, times have changed in the last 20, 30 years as far as television. It used to be when I first got my start, there were big sets and you'd have concrete holding up big sets with pipes and curtains and all kinds of stuff. And it's not quite like that anymore. Most of it's done with green screens and you have to react to nothing. And I wish I had a set that I could say, sure, little Billy in your field trip from elementary school, come on down and we'll take a look at the set. There isn't really a set. It's green screens, which is convenient because it can put me from a show like this. I could be on Mars. I could be in the middle of the ocean. I could be on the Serengeti. I could be on the bridge of a pirate ship. Something about this feels very familiar. Or I could be right here hosting the show on Walk the Plank. Green screens make it easy that you can put yourself anywhere. And if I were to have you come down and take a tour of the pirate ship that we're on, you'd really be looking at a concrete floor and green walls. So I'm going to give you a little, speaking of which, I'm glad that was a nice question. That's a nice segue into our next segment. I'm going to take you behind the scenes right now on a little tour of Walk the Plank. Take a look at this. Here we are for a little behind the scenes tour of Dead and Buried Treasures. I probably look significantly different than Captain Calico Drake I do. But this is what it is. You've got a green screen for the pirate ship. You got this little thing to keep stuff on that I need just to give it a little ambiance. I like something in the shot that's solid so it's not completely green screen. I like a little something because it blends in. And all that these boxes are just boxes I picked up at the Halloween store, when they closed their doors at Halloween from Spirit, believe it or not. And we just kind of use them as, but they do they're not even boxes, they're just cardboard, But they do the job, being in the shot and giving a little depth to what's behind me that's a little out of focus. We do that in post-production of some pirate ship. Me, of course, as Captain Calico Drake, and of course, me rubber parrot Jack. Me cockatoo. So we have a little fun with it that way. And I look significantly different, I know I do. But this is how I look out of the costume, believe it or not. So thought I'd help part of the tour when you're showing how the whole show's put together. By the way, the funny thing about the show, someone was asking me, well, who does all that? I said, I feel like Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor because I do it all. And I just don't have enough time to do everything that I want. I host it, I write it, I direct it, I produce it. It's Erik's wallet that keeps the show together. I do all the voices for Jack. I do Jack. I do Davy Bones. I do all the voices for a lot of the characters, and it's rare if there's anybody else that's involved other than me. And I feel like a one-man band. But really, that's what it all comes down to. It's just the love of the art. And of course, your love of cheesy horror films. So as long as I can keep producing Dead and Buried Treasures, and as long as we get a leased access channel or a public access channel to do so, I'm also the one that does all the legal stuff, as far as like music. All the music is purchased and bought on the show. All the movies are all public domain. So it's a lot goes into a show like this, as far as even the lighting. If you look around, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights. You have to light the green screen real well so it can transform whatever's behind me into a special effect. And then you have to have this one here is a backlight. That one here is a backlight to give me some definition from the background. And of course I have a light right up here. It's an actual light in my, of all places. You don't need a lot of areas when you host a horror show. You don't need a big spanning movie set. You just need an 8x10 green screen and a little charm. So let's get you back to the rest of the behind the scenes special. Oh, and of course, the makeup. Nothing on me is real. I can't even see. The way we rigged up a teleprompter is like this. you can see the computer right offset of the actual camera. It's not even real. It doesn't go through the lens. You'll catch me not looking at the lens where I should be looking, and I kind of look a little off of it like this to see some of the lines in the script that I read. So it's pretty involved when you do this. It's really, really involved. I actually went out to dinner tonight to do a little in-between time to get something to eat at a Chinese restaurant. People are looking at me like, where'd that guy drag in from? He ought to be working in the garbage management. And I know it's because when you look at me up close, you know, I got all the lines highlighted. I got the black thing. I got the Jack Sparrow thing going on in my beard and all the hair. All the hair in the hat is all fake too. You know, but when you come back here and you're like, "Hi, welcome to Halloween's weekend," or whatever. You know, "Welcome to Dead and Buried Treasures, where it's Halloween all year long." You know, it's a whole different character that you get into. So, but anyway, let's get you back on the behind the scenes tour. See you on the show. I'm looking, there was another Facebook question that we didn't get a chance to answer. It says, Captain Drake, do you have a favorite prop? And this one comes from Tim Kyer where is that? Is that Bell Vernon? Oh, Beaumont, Indiana. Oh, okay. Do I have a favorite prop? You know, with all the props we have on the show, I think I do have a favorite. I think it comes because I'm a pirate captain, and that would be the pirate's hat, or the captain's hat. You know, and back in the day, the captain's hat was something that was savable. It was like the Bible to a minister. It was like if my hat blew in the ocean, they'd stop the boat to go get it. I mean, it was that important. So I think one of my favorite props, if not my favorite prop of the show, would be me pirate's hat. Boy, I feel considerably different with this on here. Don't I look a little different now? I know, right? So it is one of my favorite props is, of course, the pirate's hat. And like I said, back in the day, they were valued. This was like something that, like, if you lost this at sea, they would stop and go get it. It was like the law. It was so well respected, pirate's hat. So I think if I had a favorite prop, this is the actual one that Captain Calico Drake wears on the show, or rather, myself, what I wear on the show, myself. And that's probably one of my favorite props, because this actually I had made specifically at the Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival 2 years ago from a vendor there. And it really decided the course of what Calico Drake would look like, because he stitched it, and I don't know if you can tell, it's got blue lining around here. Some blue lining and white. And blue and white were not the colors I really wanted. I wanted black and gold, to be honest, but it's a long story that I'll get into real quickly. I was going to be the black and gold pirate, and known as Pirate Pete from Pittsburgh. Didn't work out. But when I went with this and I found a uniform online from Spirit Halloween, the Spirit Halloween store, I thought that looked amazing. And it matched. So that's what I ended up going with. So I think that's probably the costume would be the most treasured prop that I have on the set. So I hope you enjoyed our behind the scenes tour of what it's like to put a show together. And we're going to be back in a few minutes to introduce tonight's movie. Stay with us, the Hardys.
Get your Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise at redbubble.com with the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. T-shirts, travel mugs, hoodies, blankets, phone cases, and much, much more. You too can even take a shower with Captain Calico Drake with a shower curtain.
This is ridiculous. How is this even possible?
That's redbubble.com and use the search words Dead and Buried Treasures. So what are you waiting for? You too can be as cool as a pirate.
Yes, of course.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures. Redbubble.com.
That I thought I would dabble in the art world myself.
That's redbubble.com and search for Dead and Buried Treasures.
They'll no doubt want to pay top dollar for me service. So, on tonight's show, we are hosting the movie Dementia 13. It was Francis Ford Coppola's first film as a director. It was made in 1960, and there's a lot of similarities between this one and the movie Psycho from Alfred Hitchcock, although this one didn't really get the recognition that Psycho did. I'm going to reveal one spoiler about this movie tonight, right now. So if you don't like spoilers, leave the room for a second. Everybody gone? Okay. Here's the first spoiler. The main character, the beautiful woman who's like the star of the show, yeah, she doesn't make it to the halfway point of the movie. And she's killed brutally, almost like the way Psycho was. Like, there was Janet Leigh, made it all the way through the first half of the film, and then she gets axed or knifed to death in the shower scene from Anthony Perkins. And this girl tonight meets her demise similarly, with water and a sharp object, but instead of a shower, it's a lake, and instead of a kitchen knife, it's an axe. And there's another brutal killing, and the movie takes a big swing in another direction at that point. It then becomes, well, who's this killer running around? Where up to that point, like in Psycho, it was all about money. In Psycho, it was a bank robbery, and this one was the insurance policy of her dead husband. And there's a big swing it takes to go in another direction. The bank robbery in Psycho, the murder of the husband in Dementia 13. So, by the way, did you know that this movie was remade just a couple years ago? Yeah, this was remade just a couple years ago, and I was like, why are you remaking it? But they do a completely different movie. Like, they remake it, they call it Dementia 13. It has the same characters, but it all ends differently. I'm thinking, well, why in the world did you call it Dementia 13? Why didn't you just make a whole new film? Sometimes I don't understand Hollywood. Here's a trailer for tonight's movie, Dementia 13.
A miasma of madness hides the one who delivers death, one who walks with silent tread and strikes with ruthless force. Is it the mother, demented by grief, or the attentive daughter-in-law, whose voice is soothingly hypnotic?
She'll tell me. I promise you.
Is it the son, who with fire creates beauty? Or the doctor who can cure and kill? Or perhaps the new bride, tortured by the ever-present nearness of death? Know the frenzy of a wedding night, in which a marriage is consummated, in a passion of terror. You too will be mesmerized by a world that cannot be, but is. The mystery of the enigmatic leads to a strange rendezvous. An attempted escape, a meeting with terror.
And that's tonight's film. So avast, me hearties, ahoy! It's time to get things started. We're real close now, right? Yeah, we're out of time. So come back next time, and in our next episode, it'll be an episode involving the Caped Crusader that you won't want to miss. I'm telling you, it's going to be one of my favorites. It's going to be amazing, where we host the Bat. But before we do that, before we jump the rails, let's get to tonight's movie, Dementia 13. I'm Erik Sprowls, the series creator for Walk the Plank. It's been a grand time having you here. I hope we answered some of your questions. We previewed tonight's film. Let's get to it. All right? I'm stretching now. We're close, right? Let's get to it in 10 seconds. Well, Walk the Plank is the sister show of Dead and Buried Treasures, where it's Halloween all year long. Huh? All right. And the show is on in 3, 2, and